Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is my security framework digital presentation. The GDPR has best five essential requirements for big business pioneers identified by the Gretna in the report working with the GDPR. How legal and compliance leaders can improve data protection, and those are the likelihood in the areas where they will invest their money. Adjusting an erratic administrative environment, establishing a security mechanism to support computerized transformation, putting in place a program that protects executive from outside threats. So, and to talk more about it, while security and related issues are typical thoughts as a matter of a legal counsel to handle protection, considers actual having the idea that will go beyond the legal office. A good example is working as an MSP for a company, sometimes ending a contract with a client that is not being responsive or is not getting back to us, and also not helping us do our job as service provider to protect their data. Sometimes we have to cut ties with them because A, we don't want to lose our credibility, and B, we and even when we lose a contract, we don't want a situation whereby there's a breach and we lose much more of other people's data because of a certain client. So going beyond the legal office sometimes help, or consider actually having ideas that goes well beyond the legal office helps protect you, your clients, your other clients, and as a MSP, that's what we do. We go beyond, above and beyond, to make sure everything is secure and have multiple layers of security in place. Some examples of the GDPR, for example, allows you to brand your brands to be consistent, but others regulations such as the CCP, the Canada Anti-Spam Legalization or legislation, does not necessarily follow the same principle. It is challenging for to find information strategy that maintains some consistency while universally accepting, and he added based on my research, he added this is especially true for future proof information system for standard that haven't been yet defined yet or haven't been defined yet, um based on the article that I read. So sometimes we the differences between regular regional regulation laws and all of that when it comes to IT is very important. For example, it's different in every state. Knowing your region and the laws for the specific city or the specific state is very important when it comes to IT and technical information. Handling massive amount of data, he goes on he goes on to say, uh, based on simply putting it, having a lot of data, having the best way to handle a lot of data that's being collected is very important. Making sure we satisfy the administrative feelings, we have to put that feelings in place based on finding we executing information procedures. For example, we have working as an MSP, we have Datto as our backup. That is where it backs up all our clients' data, documents, anything in case of a breach. We can recover their data or their files back for them. So recently, I had to. A good example was recently I had to back up a file or get a backed up file from data, and it's important to be proactive because checking their cloud server, it was set to be forever, and they later on explained that their forever means it over time the file has to be moved or have to be deleted because having too much amount of data in one specific space, you won't have enough space or storage, cloud storage, to store the other ones that are coming. So they delete the old ones that have been there for a long time. So it's the best way to handle massive amount of data is when the you collecting the information is better off when it's stored it over time over the cloud. You have to make space for the newer ones, the newer data that is being collected, to make space for that in the cloud to be able to be saved up there. So that's handling massive storage. Certain privacy or making a policy of privacy. Every cybersecurity manager or any IT firm or any IT department does have a security policy set in place for the client, the staff, and pretty much anybody. So there's a security policy in place for every single thing that is being done. So a good example is having the policies or creating a policy for your network saying they can't access this on your internet or your wireless route, saying they can't access this site. So you put in the policy and put in the firewall to block that from happening, or to put I believe we use Sonic Wall. We can change that um, for the certain clients firewall. We do have policies in place that um, stops users from accessing certain websites. And if we don't, and we when we don't have that, we have a dark web ID agent that does all the scanning around the web or any website that they might have accessed based on what the client preferred when we're doing the um, onboarding them basically. So it's to the next step is to build information system that is realistic and have a good chance of achieving your goals. So making sure we, like I said, making sure we maintain that trust with our client, making sure it's very dependable, having that dependability. So Sonic Core, Datto, Sentinel One, all our backup and dark web ID, pretty much making sure we trust and we are being transparent and confident in how the information brand is being mentioned. So during the onboarding or during the sales call, you mention all of that and how everything works, and if they still want to get on board or sign a contracts, we do furthermore explain the current state of cybersecurity or security. Due to the absence of security strategy being implemented in recent years, or let's say 2 years ago, 2020, there was a lot of breaches, massive breaches, and even to this day, there is still a lot of scam calls that is being pushing through every single day. People are getting scammed, and it faces numerous of difficulty due to that incident or the past 2 years. We have a lot of breaches, and with cybersecurity and technology being evolved, changing over time or changing every single day, the frequency of of these threats are more. Even just today, I had to help a customer, a client, or user for that matter of fact, that clicked on a phishing email that the web page prompted her to put in her password and username, and later came out to be a wrong password. So after she first called me that I picked up, the best bet was for me to go and change her credentials ASAP before they can do any damage. For the matter of fact, so it, so that is also one of it. The good example is owning a vehicle company or owning a dealership, whereby any vehicle, or you loan out a vehicle to a client and the vehicle happens to break down, you have to find other varieties or other ways and means to be able to fix that problem. Having the skills and the tools to be able to fix um, any situation that might arise. There's a saying that I've been told, there's multiple ways to, I don't know, kill a cat, that they keep saying, but there's also multiple ways to gain access to a user's computer. You just have to find the right one. Risk management, operational safety, topics on risk management systems. We have to focus on the operational safety or the the workflow, the workplace safety environment, the protection of data, human error or individual error, and how to process the work rate. So organization needs to address all these type of things when they are opening or when they are handling any risk, um, any problem or any breach, prevailing and accessing those, doing that management. Um, occupational management is to make sure every staff or anybody gets the proper training and the proper know-how to look for certain things. Protecting data is planning forward. Having a good password security, having a good multi-factor two-step authentication. So, a human error or individual errors. A good example that I gave previous was simple as a phishing email. Training staff or individuals to look for certain things when they receive anything that they feel suspicious of, and also handling data with the last one was handling data properly or with care. Many service providers fail to keep up with the proper information system maintenance. A good example will be Amazon. Um, those and it will go unnoticed because it's a big corporation. So preserving, in order to preserve good quality of information, we have to do all these steps to minimize the risk of being breached, basically. Like I said in my previous slide, so excuse me, they have to provide any prove these steps for a good organizational risk management, if I were to say that, or put it in more security frame. keeping the risk minimal. So risk management, I have a little chart here. Is pretty much self-explanatory, but I'll go over it. So the first is the customer. We are always here to serve the customers because they technically sign our checks. So they ask for support, right? And they need anything. Then it comes to you, the service provider company. Based on where it goes from there, the company has to make a decision on whether they're gonna go through with it or not. And if they do not go through with it, the customer leaves. But if they do go through with it, you register the customer, we provide the services, and the customer pays just like any other business. So this chart that I made explains the flow of how uh, we manage, or how um, you gain the trust of your client, and also minimize the risk, because then you have to sit down, you have to follow all these steps, and if it doesn't work for you, the customer leaves, because there are certain risks you don't want to take, even though the money is good or might be good for you. There are certain risks that you do not want to take. The HIPAA compliance law, when it comes to IT, is very straightforward. Having a good strong password that protects people's records. A good example is for the hospital. Having a good strong password, keeping, arranging or record any record that's being recorded has to be put in a safe place. Cellular security, or cell phone or mobile security, have to be or people that still use mobile devices has to adhere to the HIPAA law. Working in the hospital, believe last year, we had to go through HIPAA compliance law on the onboarding part of the employment. So keeping all these in mind when we're creating a cybersecurity security framework, it's just like you have to think of all these outside the box, the laws, the policies, how you're going to create a policy, how it's going to benefit you and your clients, and also put out the best steps or the best practices out there to protect or keep your clients' information safe, and the laws that also govern, or wherever state you are or the city you are, the laws that are there for security or IT related issues. You have to look through all of that. So thank you for listening. This is my presentation. Thank you for your time.